Hello! We've got an update. We've got an update for you here from Kathleen Kennedy herself. This is, of course, on the future direction of Star Wars, as per, the headline, the title. And it seems like she's getting her little fingers in the pie and she's meddling around. She's Darth Sidious from the shadows. Rise. So she's basically doing all of this stuff. And it's interesting because she's been out the limelight for a while. She's not said anything for ages. And then all of a sudden she pops up and she's like, oh, hey, remember me? I'm still here. And everyone's like, yeah, we sure do remember you. We hate to, but we remember you. So let's see what the man and the myth, well, it's not man, the woman and the myth and the legend. God, people are going to go crazy because I said that, aren't they? It's a phrase, the man, the myth, the legend. All right, calm down. Anyway, so Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy recently provided an update on the future of Star Wars, detailing where she sees the franchise going. Interesting, isn't it? Where do you think? 10 guesses. 10 guesses to where you think it's going. Other than down the bin. It's already in. It's already in a trash fire. It's in the trash. Maybe they're just going to let it on fire this time. Who knows? Or maybe it's in the toilet. They're just going to flush the toilet. Where do you think? So this is speaking to The Wrap. Kennedy discussed The Mandalorian with its recent Emmy nominations, Baby Yoda, and the future of Star Wars, and more. So after discussing how the idea of The Mandalorian came about, and her reaction to the Emmy nominations that the series had received, Kennedy is asked about how The Mandalorian captures the feel of the original trilogy, despite the different technological processes made to create the show compared to the original films. I mean, you wouldn't even know. They shoot it on some amazing... It's like an LED soundstage. It's incredible. But you wouldn't know. And Kennedy would agree that the show captures the feel of the original trilogy film, stating, I agree with you. It's interesting, isn't it, that the advanced technology is actually allowing you to feel that way. I think that's really true. Well, yeah. Okay. Great one, Einstein, but you had better people behind it. I think that in an interesting way, it has all the DNA of what George Lucas was always interested in. He was trying so hard in pushing technology, but at the heart of it, it was still focused on storytelling and characters, and also a kind of lived-in feeling to everything. Right, a few things about that statement. One, that the technology that they're using has actually been around for a little while. They're just implementing it more now because it's so expensive, and obviously Disney have the money to do it. But it has been around for a fair while. Are they focused on pushing technology? I don't think they were. I think they were just like, well, this makes sense. We don't have like a ginormous budget. They've not given us movie budget, so what we'll do is we'll just film it on a soundstage. That's what it seems like to me. But at the heart of it, it was still focused on storytelling and characters. Again, newsflash, douche canoe, like any story should be focused, again, amazingly, on storytelling. Ah! What a miracle! It's like, how is this person in charge? But at the heart of it, it was still focused on storytelling and characters. Again, any story should be focused on that. I don't understand why this is like a newsflash. But anyway... And the lived-in feeling to everything, yeah, I mean, that does make sense because they live there. I'm always baffled by, like, sci-fi that's super, super clean. It shouldn't be. It should be dirty. Dirty sci-fi lived in. like, super spaceships and things like that. Unless they've just been made, who's going to keep them that clean? Unless they introduce, like, nano droids that run about cleaning stuff. Lived in is always better. Always. She then concluded the question saying... which I think is something certainly the Mandalorian director and executive producer Dave Filoni understands in all the work that he's been doing for years inside the company, and something Jon Favreau, always loved. The technology has never been an attempt to try to move things further into some kind of science fiction world. It's still in service to that original feeling. Well, why can't you do that for anything else then? Now, later in the interview, Kennedy would go on to detail what the future of Star Wars would look like after the rise of Skywalker. The Wrap Steve Bond would ask, at the end of last year when The Rise of Skywalker... The Rise of Skywalker... That if you missed The Rise of Skywalker, the lead up to that, you weren't here on the channel, you missed my Palpatine impression. That's my Emperor Palpatino impression. Anyway, at the end of last year, when The Rise of Skywalker came out, you said you wanted to take time out to think about where the franchise is going from there. Are you still doing that? Let's see what she says. Oh yeah, it's an ever-evolving process. You know, when I personally came into this, George had already been having conversations with his previous actors, Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill. There was a saga that the fans loved and he never finished. He always talked about doing 9 movies and he was ready to complete that, and so our focus had been from the beginning on finishing that saga. Okay, riding on his tailcoats. Or coattails, whatever. And now we're stepping back. Stories have been told within this universe over the last 40 odd years, and there's now the realization that this is a mythology that actually spans about 25,000 years when you really start to look at all the different stories that have been told, whether it's in books and games. I thought there was no existing canon to go from. Didn't she? What? Oh my god, she's contradicting herself once more. Didn't she say... I swear to Christ, there's an interview where she says it's so difficult because there's no existing canon to go from. We're literally making it up. Whilst also taking from the expanded universe stuff and the legend stuff. Oh my god, this woman flip-flops more like a fish out of water. Seriously. Unreal. Now this is quite a shocking comment, given Kennedy's previously told Rolling Stones that the story did not have source material. There you go, that Star Wars didn't have source. She explained, every one of these movies is a particularly hard nut to crack. There's no source material. We don't have comic books. We don't have 800-page novels. There we go. Side note, I don't always read these articles. I like to react, especially like an interview. I like to react, like have an actual legitimate reaction. It's more authentic that way. Kennedy added, we don't have anything other than passionate storytellers who get together and talk about what the next iteration might be, whilst also stealing stuff. Side note, if you didn't see yesterday's video on Star Wars literally stealing fan renderings, I'll leave it linked above. Now, nevertheless, Kennedy would continue to answer the Rap's question, stating, we just need the time to step back and really absorb what George has created and then start to think about where things might go. That's what we've been doing, and we've been having a great deal of fun doing it and meeting with lots of different filmmakers and talent. There's so many fans out there and so many filmmakers that have been influenced by Star Wars for so long that it's a fantastic opportunity to get a sense of who wants to be a part of this, so that's what we've been doing. That's not remotely reassuring. You've just been running around meeting people going, do you want a job? Oh, let me schmooze on in there. Like, who the fuck cares about what you're doing there? Again, this is also quite a shocking statement given that Bob Iger made it perfectly clear that Disney and Lucasfilm wanted nothing to do with the Lucasfilm's treatments for the sequel trilogy. Iger would even admit in his book, The Ride of a Lifetime, Lesson Learned from 15 Years as CEO of the Walt Disney Company, that Lucas felt betrayed by what Disney and Lucasfilm did to him. And this is what he wrote in his book. At some point in the process, George told me that he had completed outlines for 3 new movies. He agreed to send us 3 copies of the outlines, one for me, one for Alan Braverman, and one for Alan Horn, who'd just been hired to run our studio. Alan Horn and I read George's outlines and I decided we needed to buy them, though we made clear in the purchase agreement that we would not be contractually obligated to adhere to the plot lines he'd laid out. He knew that I was going to stand firm on the question of creative control, but it wasn't an easy thing for him to accept, and so he reluctantly agreed to be available to consult with us at our request. I promised that we would be open to his ideas. This was not a hard promise to make. Of course, we would be open to George Lucas's ideas, but like the outlines, we would be under no obligation. Early on, Kathy brought JJ and Michael Arndt up to Northern California to meet with George at his ranch and talk about their ideas for the film. George immediately got upset as they began to describe the plot, and it dawned on him that we weren't using one of the stories he submitted during the negotiations. He seems like quite like a soft, gentle man, doesn't he, to be honest? Anyway, so this is just total garbage, right? And it's funny, isn't it? Because, I mean, this just continues on with what Bob Iger had said, right? But back in April 2019, Kennedy claimed that Lucasfilm was looking at what the next decade of Star Wars storytelling would be with Rian Johnson and Benioff and Weiss. Horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And she would tell EW, we're taking the time to really look at where this is going from the standpoint of a saga. We're not just looking at what the next 3 movies might be or talking about this in terms of a trilogy. We're looking at what is the next decade of storytelling. As they finish Game of Thrones, they're going to segue into Star Wars. They're working very closely with Ryan. And that's basically done now, isn't it? Like, where are they? They're not doing anything. They signed a mega deal. I think it was with Netflix, if I remember rightly. A huge deal with Netflix. I mean, it's madness. It's absolutely madness. And then, again, it flip-flops backwards and forwards. Loads of people saying, no, we're done for a little while. No, we're going to do it for a little while. No, we're done. They just don't understand what they're doing. They really don't. They have no idea. You know, and then, like, it continues here. You know, when asked if television would be very important to the franchise, Kennedy stated, I do, and I've already seen evidence of it, the ability to be very clear, very character-driven, with extended storytelling and connected storytelling. I think this space offers us a great opportunity to do that. And then obviously mouthed off about, yes, we must hire females because, yeah, what flip-flaps between your legs is so important when, you know, you're telling a story. Just hire the best fucking storyteller, you idiot. It's absolutely a priority. It's been very exciting to see the talent that's come in. And side note as well, Deborah Chow was great. Like, Deborah Chow did the Mandalorian stuff. She was awesome in that. She was really, really good. Great director. But, you know, I don't want her hired again because she's got a puss. I want her hired again because she presented really good work, do you know? Why would you be hired as a diversity hire? It's just stupid. Anyway, and then she just mouths off a little bit more here and there and everywhere, and it's all a bunch of garbage, but it just goes to show they're so clearly disconnected from what they're doing. They don't know, like, you got the left hand saying this, you got the right hand saying this. It's all flip-flopping about. No one knows what they're doing, as evidenced here. So, Sidious Kennedy, Darth Kennedy, is still running her mouth, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section. I do think as well, like, if HBO, AT&T, you know, Warner Media start to really push on ahead with DC, you will see Lucasfilm starting to do more things. And I know that sounds a bit weird, but you got to remember, like, Disney holds a massive stake share in theatre, right? And what they produce, what they make so much money. They have very little competitors. But if Warner Brothers and AT&T finally sort their out, you know, get their act together, you're gonna see some true movement from Lucasfilm and Marvel and everyone over at Disney. So watch this space, we shall see. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Stay up to date on the world of pop culture movie news by hitting the bell notification icon. Please check that you are subscribed. I've had some comments from some subscribers that thought they were, and they're not. They've been unsubbed by YouTube. So anyway, give this video a like and a share. But Mr. H, take care.